All right, everybody. Welcome to the Good Old Boy Podcast on here. I got two gentlemen who are taking time out of their evening to call me in. Mr. Weston Jenkins from Disabled Outdoorsman and Mr. Sidney Smith. Guys, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, man, happy to be here. Appreciate
Thanks,
you.
Buster.
So, fellas, Disabled Outdoorsman, what y'all are rocking and rolling. It seems like every time I'm on Facebook or Instagram, y'all have something going on. Y'all are out hunting. Y'all have a charity event. Y'all are moving into stores. Y'all are just blowing and going. Tell me about it. How did this start? What did it come about? Weston, how did you and Sidney meet? And Sidney, I want to get a little background on you. Weston, a background on you. So, guys, just let us know.
So, Disabled Outdoorsman, I got the idea about 2 years ago. I was just leaving TJ's ranch. Him and I were hanging out. And TJ's the one he has muscular dystrophy. And him and I have been best friends my entire life. And one night I was just coming home from his house, and the idea just popped in my head. It was kind of weird how it happened, but the name literally is kind of like whispered into my ear. And so after that, I got home and I started researching some stuff about it. And there was an organization that kind of represented the disabled as a brand. There wasn't like one brand or one logo out there that kind of represented the community as a whole. So being around it my whole life, I kind of took it to heart, and I wanted to change. I wanted to make it change. So that's when I got home and I just started designing the logo with my brother, and that's when we came up with what we had. And right after that, I launched the Instagram, and I started reaching out to people that I could find with hashtags and stuff like that. And then Sidney was actually one of the first disabled hunters that I came across. And him and I started talking, and then I'll let him, kind of go into that. But yeah, that's kind of how it started, man. It's kind of weird.
So Sidney, you get a message from a guy on Instagram saying, "Hey, do you want to go hunting, or what was that call like for you, man?"
Well, at first, yeah, he just, we connected, and I thought it was pretty cool that he showcases people with disabilities that or impairments and still want to get out there. And I thought, that's pretty sweet, because there's not very many of us, to my knowledge at first, until I started, seeing all these connections through Disabled Outdoorsman. And one time he messaged me and says, "Hey, we would love to get you down here." And I thought, oh, he's just being a nice guy, just being, friendly, because, you say one thing, you just never know for sure. And then it wasn't, I don't know, what was maybe a year later or less, that he says, "Hey, I'm serious about having you come down here to Texas." And I'm thought, all right, man, let's do it. The next thing I know it, he books me a flight.
Oh, wow.
So
that's awesome. So Sidney, I've checked out, I've got your bio here. I've checked out your Instagram, man. Tell me about your disability, or what, give me your story. 'Cause, man, from what I'm seeing, you don't have one really. You are not a, dude, you don't stay still.
No, I don't know if it's a disease or what that keeps me going, but I mean, I guess to start off, I was born with a disease called Charcot-Marie tooth. It's a muscular dystrophy that progressed over time, that affected the muscles in my body, specifically my feet. And then over time, with a bunch of surgeries trying to fix it, they never could. And the doctor said, "Hey, we need to amputate." So about 3 years ago, they amputated my legs below the knee. And then from that point on, I mean, it was a long journey to get to where I am today. But I received prosthetics, and hunting's always been a passion. And now that I have prosthetics, I'm able to do more. That's kind of helped me overcome some of the problems I had with my disease, and do things like hunting and hiking and being in the outdoors and triathlons. That's kind of a newfound passion of mine. And as of right now, I'm still trying to stay active. I'm training for an Ironman and try to hunt at the same time and spend time with the kids, trying to balance my job all as much as I can.
Oh man, you look like you're doing a good job on that from what I'm seeing. So Weston, you say, you invite Sidney down, and I'm a fellow outdoorsman myself. I love hunting. I love fishing. You basically get me out anywhere in a blind, in a boat, or, in a stand, and I'm good to go. For y'all, when you're setting this up, I pack a bag, I get my gun, I get my bow, I get my rods and reels, everything, and we're good to go. But for y'all have a different challenge ahead of y'all's, or maybe an opportunity, the way that some people put it. How do you go about planning for that?
So, it really depends on the disability. Whenever TJ and I and Jeremy, we go hunting, it's a process, but we know the process down to the needle, so we can do it very efficiently. But it really just depends with the disability. So with TJ, we got to get, if he's going hunting, we got to get the beach ball that blows up his arm, his right arm. We got to get the straps. We got to get the heaters for his hands. We got to get, generator gas to keep the blind warm. With Sidney, since he's been hunting his entire life as well, he kind of brought all the gear that he needed. And all Sidney asked me to bring was a bow block, so he could sight in his bow, because he didn't know if the plane was going to mess up the sighting of the bow. So Sidney was kind of maintenance, so that was nice. So that's all I did. But yeah, so it really just depends on the disability. With little Nixon coming down here, we're fortunate enough to have his parents down here with him. So they kind of know what he needs, because they've been on a hunt with Make-A-Wish Foundation. So they just kind of asked us, if we have a certain kind of caliber gun, which we do, and that's what we're going to use with it. So yeah, it really just depends, and you just got to kind of adapt to whatever disability it is.
So I want to come back and talk about Nixon's hunt. That's something that I saw y'all are putting on together. And I want to ask Sidney, so where'd y'all go hunting at, guys, whenever Sidney came in?
Yes, we went actually to TJ and Trip Superior's ranch over there in Bernie, Texas, where Callie's wedding was.
Beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
So Sidney, was this your first hunt in Texas, or?
Oh yeah, first hunt in Texas, first time hunting whitetail.
Oh man, what was in Texas whitetail? So what was that like for you? You get in, these guys pick you up from the airport, throw all the gear in the back, they take you out to Bernie. What was that? What were you thinking about at that time when you started meeting Weston and the guys?
Well, it was going like a million miles an hour in my head, because it was just, everything was new. I mean, once I landed, I was like, it was snowing in Utah, and I get to Texas and it was like, 75 degrees. And, I had my coats and stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't even know why I brought this stuff.
Because 75 in Texas is freezing.
Yeah, I guess. But by the time we got to the ranch, it was dark, and as we got on the property, it's just, all of a sudden right across the headlights was what would you say, Weston, like a 180 class buck?
Yeah, at least 175. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in my experience of seeing deer, which is mule deer, they have big bodies and they're racked, but you see this animal and you see this huge rack on the side of an animal, and I was like, what the heck was that? So I was like, I didn't even look like a deer, just because I'm not used to something that big. And then Weston told me, he said, yep, you'll be in for a surprise, because there's some big deer on this place.
Man, it's, in a way, I kind of like the idea that you showed up at night, because you show up at night to one of these places. If you ever, you go out hunting into a ranch or a facility or anything like this, public land, you get there at night, man. So y'all probably, did y'all make a morning hunt, an evening hunt? What did y'all do? You woke up in the morning, sighted up your bow, and
we just kind of BS that first night, and he showed me the trophy room that TJ has done throughout his life, and it is like, I mean, it's a lifetime times 100 of what accomplishments most of us hunters can do, and it's pretty amazing. And we just kind of hung out, shot some hoops in our cowboy boots, which is kind of fun, and then hit a few golf balls, went to bed. And they said, make sure you look out the window, because the view's amazing. And yeah, the next morning it was just a beautiful view, and I look out, and out there on the horizon were all these African exotics and giraffes and deer, and it's just beautiful. And we just kind of, spent the day looking at the ranch a little bit, me and Weston, and then we decided to go bass fishing, and that was exciting because
y'all got a cast and blast in then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Weston's full of surprises for you.
Oh yeah. Yeah, everything's big in Texas, even the bass. I caught my biggest bass, and I lived on a lake that had bass, and I've never caught some bass that big.
Man, well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Weston, did y'all have and I've been out to the property a couple of times. I've seen that trophy room that you're talking about. My two little boys who love deer and hunting and all that, they were just sat around with like, ooh, look at that one, look at that one. Did y'all have one set up y'all thought y'all were going to go look for, or was it just let's go out there and see what we can find? How did that stalk go? Walk me through that, man.
Yeah, so the deer that I originally thought that we were going to harvest, TJ completely hit me with a blind side too. So I had the deer in my mind that we were going to go for, and whenever Sidney walked off and he was kind of, he was kind of stargazing at the trophy room, TJ came up to me. He's like, "I got a new deer for Sidney," and I was like, "Oh no, what's that mean?" And he's like, "You're not going to believe this deer that I saw chasing this doe." Because there was this one special doe that was in heat, and this deer was just, he was just trying to chase her everywhere, and he just wasn't thinking. So he's like, "That's the deer we're going to try to get." And it was probably, I wouldn't say double size, but it was a lot bigger than the one we were originally going to go for. So I didn't tell Sidney either. So we didn't tell him the size of deer that we were going for because we didn't want to kind of like freak him out, And so we go to bed that night, and we wake up the next morning. We go fishing. We go get Sidney's license and stuff, and then we're getting ready for the hunt. And we roll in there. We roll into the place that we're gonna go hunting at, and TJ's like, "Sidney, that's it." And you just see Sidney turn back at me, and his jaw is just on the floor. He's like, "No, that's the one." And that's how we picked it out. It was I was surprised too. I got hit out of left field this too. TJ's all full of surprises, man. That guy is something else. You would never think he's in the position he's in if you just talk to him on the phone. Him and I talked probably 3-4 times a week. Just kind of catching up, seeing what we got into, seeing what we're doing. You would never think he's in the position he's in because he's always worried about someone else. That's what's kind of special about TJ. So.
Yeah, I've met him a few times, and he's a hell of a gentleman.
Yeah.
And I know, and from talking with Caleb, and man, just really good people. So if you hear that in the background, I think my wife's making a smoothie or a shaker. So hopefully that blender noise calms down after a while. So Sidney, what did you think when you saw that? When you saw the deer, what was going through your mind?
Well, to back up, I still was unaware what was going on because as far as what the deer looked like or what the kind of caliber deer and details, I just had seen the one whitetail the first morning. But we saw one in the distance as we were pulling up, and he was in some tall grass, and I could just see his rack. I was like, "Oh my gosh, that is a giant buck." And we came around the corner, and we came in across a herd of deer, and we saw the doe that he was kind of walking around hot and bothered, and the TJ looked through them on the binoculars, and I just was sitting there patiently. I'm like, "What are they looking at?" I could see a giant over there. I'm like, that's insane just with the naked eye. And then his caretaker buddy, Jeremy, he gave me the binos, and I looked through them, and then he says, "That's your deer." And I just immediately got the butterflies. In fact, I was a little upset because I'm like, "Man, that thing's huge. Now the pressure is just going to be so hard for me to not miss at this point." So I got super excited, and my first reaction is I punched Jeremy in the shoulder as hard as I could. I was like, "Shut up, dude. Shut up. That is not that can't be happening. This can't be real. And sure enough, that was the buck. And yeah, my heart was just beating so fast, and the butterflies were flowing.
So tell me about the shot, man.
Well, we I had a range. We wanted to get within like 30 yards, which is a lot to ask for, but I have taken animals at 60 yards before, and I figured that was my range. And when we got to a position, and he just kept moving around, he was just so fixated on that doe, and the doe would kind of get booed a little bit, and then she'd go feed somewhere, and then she'd move around, and so we tried to time it perfectly to get in position. And there was one time he got within 60 yards, and I ranged him, and I just couldn't take the shot. I wasn't used to an animal's like the body compared to like an elk to be so much smaller. So I didn't want to take the shot. So we finally, after a while, and he was starting to get tired too, just chasing that doe and moving around, that he finally laid down, and we got within 41 yards. And right when I ranged him, he stood up, and TJ and Weston and his buddy Kevin and Jeremy were just sitting right there, kind of on my right shoulder. And I could hear Jeremy whisper to me. He goes, "All right, if you feel comfortable to take him, take him." And as soon as he said that, I just lightly squeezed that trigger, and I could just see that the lime green knock almost go in slow motion as it just went right there, right in his vitals, and it was just a smack. And I could just hear everybody in the next to me just get all excited. And the next thing you know, he just rolled over about another 60 yards later. So it was a party after that.
And how big was it, man?
I don't know the official tape measure yet, but I think, what would we say, like,
Weston, do you know?
Let's just put it this way: is the biggest buck I've ever killed.
Go ahead, Wes.
It's bigger than the biggest deer I've ever killed, and I live here. No, but TJ's keeping it a surprise, because we're actually getting it shoulder mounted for Sidman.
Nice.
So we're gonna be shipping it up there to him, and then I think we're gonna have the score wrapped around the horns. So we're not going to tell him until it gets there. That's just how we do it in Texas. We like to keep.
Oh, you guys are so cold. That's so cold.
I tell you what, Sidney, I'm from Louisiana, and these Texas boys, whenever I started hunting down here, they are kind of cold, but, man, they are so good and nice. And I grew up hunting in Natchez, Mississippi, in tall pines. And I'm talking about, you wake up at 5, you get in the stand at 5:30, 6 o'clock. You stay in till noon. You come in, you get a sandwich, maybe take a nap. You go back in the woods at 1, and you're staying till dark. And for me, growing up that way hunting, it was some hard hunting for maybe seeing a couple of does. If you see like a little basket 6, that's the one you shoot. And you take it down to the local beer joint, and you're showing everybody, and you killed a monster. Well, I showed up down here to Texas and started hunting in South Texas with Caleb and Blake and all those guys. First time I went hunting out here, and out walks this ginormous, and it must have been like, I think, like you said, like a 145, a 150. Deer comes out, and I'm just like, oh, man. And I'm with Caleb's cousin Blake, and he goes, and he's pulling out his gun to shoot it. I'm like, dude, you're going to get that trophy? And he goes, that's a cull buck, dude. And I'm like, no, dude. So he takes that one, and at 9 o'clock, we're waiting. He's like, let's see what else comes out. And I'm like, wait, we're going to go for some more. He goes, yeah, well, you could probably get one. And I'm like, oh, boy, don't tease me. So 9 o'clock comes around, and they're like, all right, time to go in. For what? And he looks at me and goes, breakfast. I'm like, guys, this is completely different. But that afternoon, they put me out in a stand, and they brought me out and said, hey, man, that's your deer right there. Go get him. And I was very kind of, I guess, I was very humbled that the fact that they were going to say, go ahead and get that one. That's a good one to take. And Weston, man, with what I see y'all are doing, I got to say, outdoorsmen, hunters, fishermen, they are some of the best people in the world, because not only do they want to share in it, But when they get a chance to take somebody new on, or to take somebody who's never been hunting, never been fishing, never been outdoors, and then for y'all, and I kind of get choked up when I see the videos when they have, like, they take the little kids out who might have a disability or might be facing a challenge in their life, and they get that first buck or they get that deer, and it's, I don't know, somebody's cutting onions, and I kind of start crying about it. But it's just something about a hunter and an outdoorsman that's going to say, you know what, I don't care. Let's get you out there. And with y'all doing that, man, y'all have got a special little project coming up, or the next hunt that y'all are going to be doing, right?
Yeah, very, very special project. One of my buddies actually reached out to me and he said, "Hey, have you heard the story of this kid named Nixon? He had an Instagram called Nixon Strong." And I was like, "No, man, never heard of him." He's like, "Well, you should look him up." So I looked him up on Instagram, and I was just blown away about how young he is and his attitude, and how supportive his parents are, and just how young he is and what he's going through. No one his age and no one in general should have to go through what he's going through. And I kind of made it my mission to get a hold of him. And so this girl that I know actually lives in Utah and works with Nixon's dad. And so I got a hold of her, and I got a hold of the dad finally. I told him what we were doing, and I told him kind of the mission of what I wanted to do. And I didn't know how I was going to get him down here, but I knew I was going to get him down here. I was going to do whatever it took. I was going to, I started a GoFundMe, and, I was just pushing the GoFundMe. I was like, y'all are going to come down here for sure, 100%. And then, grace of God, one of my fraternity brothers' dads called me. He got wind of what I was doing. I think he saw the GoFundMe. And he's like, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do for you." He's like, "I travel the world. I got a bunch of flight points." He's like, "Just go ahead and get all their information and shoot me their emails." He's like, "Y'all are going to come to my ranch, and y'all are going to come out here, and I'm going to pay for their I'm going to get all their flights." He's like, "And y'all are going to come out here to the ranch."
Oh, wow.
Like, so what I ended up doing with the GoFundMe money, I think we raised about $1,200. So I got the dad's email. I got all his information. So I just sent the dad the GoFundMe money, and I just said, "Hey, use this for, whatever expense, you got to use for Nick's treatment, because that's not cheap at all, I'm sure. And I want money to be like the last thing they got to worry about. So, $1,200 is not too much, but, it can help a little bit. So that's what we ended up doing with the GoFundMe money.
Man. That's amazing. How old is Nixon?
So I think Nixon's 7 to 8 years old.
Okay. And what kind of hunter y'all going to take him on?
Yeah, so the ranch we're going on, it's a beautiful place. It's got about 7 cabins on it. And, they have the MLD tag out there. Mm-hmm. So we're going to Nixon's got 3 little brothers as well. And we're bringing 2 guides, external guides, and then me and my buddy are going to guide. And Nixon's got 3 little brothers and the mom and dad, so there's 6 of them. So I'm going to take one of the little brothers and go hunt, and they're all going to try to hunt whitetail. So we're going to try to get Nixon on a pretty we're going to try to get Nixon on a pretty good whitetail, and then I'm going to try to guide his little brothers on a what's it called? A whitetail hunt, cull buck.
Yeah.
So,
well, man, that is awesome to hear that y'all are doing that, and man, just good people, good old boys doing something like that.
Man, I'll tell you what, the hunting community is it's one big family. I've had so many people DM me on Instagram, and they're just like, "Hey, come out to my ranch," or "Hey, come bring people out here." "Hey, we'll give you a really good discount." Like, I even had a guy in Africa. He's like, "Hey, I'm a guide out here. I'm a safari guide." He's like, "All y'all got to pay for is the flight and my guide fees for my guys, and I'll let y'all come out here, and y'all can do like a full safari."
Oh,
like,
man.
10-day safari for like 90% off. And I was like, Jesus, it's just like, we're just starting up, and we're already getting invited to go to Africa. Like, it's kind of insane.
It is, man. The hunting community is unbelievably supportive when it comes to just reaching out and helping. I don't know. I mean, just personally, I know times where I've mentioned something to a buddy about, "Oh, I've never done that. I've never hunted there. I've never fished there." And next thing I know, they're like, "All right, we're going." And it's like, "Oh, great. Everything's lined up. And at the same time, I've grabbed guys too and said, hey, we're going. Let's head out here. And people have never done something before. Let's go. Let's get it. Let's get it. So.
Yep. And our next hunt we're working on too is down the line, September 16th. We're actually coming up there to Utah to see Sidman. We know a guy up there that's an elk guide. His name's Sean Ward. Same thing. He messaged me on Instagram. He's like, hey, it's like I take all these guys elk, and it's kind of pressure on me because they're wondering where's the big bull, where's the bull? Like they expect so much. He's like, I just want you to bring someone up here that just it's gonna change their entire life. So we found the perfect candidate, didn't we, Sid? Old Tate.
Oh yeah.
Is that the countdown on your website right now?
No, the countdown on the website's until the website drops.
Okay.
So I actually got one of my buddies up here that's designing the website, and it's because he can actually like make it by himself. But the way that I'm kind of wanting it to be is why it's taking so long, just because it's gonna be something special. So
that's great, man. That's great. So Sidney, what's hunting like in Utah? I know I've hunted Mississippi, I've hunted Louisiana, I've hunted Texas. Kind of stayed around those areas because, well, they're close. But man, Utah, it's not as flat or around here, correct?
Oh no, it's like when I landed in Texas. It's like, well, where's the mountains at? But no, it's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to see Weston's reaction to see some of this country because it's beautiful. I love Utah because you got dark timber and huge peaks and desert and snow and glaciers, and it's just some amazing country, and what these animals can live in. The elk, the moose, the rams, the goats, the mule deer. I mean, it's pretty amazing, and so I hope you get a chance to see it because it just feels like it's you're going back in time almost like in the wild west because it's just so remote and out in the middle of nowhere. So it'll be fun.
And Sidney, with your prosthetics, are you doing a lot of walking through there? Or are you equipped for like the terrain, or are you on? I saw a picture of you on a horse on one. How do you navigate the terrain?
It just depends. Like
I think he kind of froze on a little bit.
I'm going and really getting into some of the back hunting. So I sometimes I'll take a mountain bike and then to a trail, and then I'll go hiking deeper. But with my prosthetics, it's taken a while, but I've got to the point where I can hike 10, 12 miles a day and get into the backwoods and then just kind of camp out of a sleeping bag, and then and then sometimes some days I'll take have a four-wheeler or something like that to a different spot. But yeah, my prosthetics I've been blessed with. They're doing pretty well, and I can get where I need to go.
Well, that's great, man. What's your favorite thing to hunt up there in Utah? I mean, probably what comes second to Texas whitetails now?
That's a tough one. It's a magical debate because I grew up hunting mule deer, and they just have a special place in my heart. But my wife, whenever I asked her if I can, can I take this weekend off for a mule deer hunt, she gets a little hesitant because the mule deer meat's not as good as the elk meat. So if I ask her, hey, can I go hunt some elk on this weekend, she's very excited for me to go. However, if I don't come back with an elk, she gets disappointed, and that is very humiliating. When your wife says, "What's wrong with you? You can't kill an elk." So lately, elk has been my favorite because they are delicious for one, and two, there's just a lot of adrenaline when a bugle is in your face when you reach a bull that's in his peak rut, and it's intense. It's intense.
So what's your dream hunt, man?
My dream hunt? Oh man, I've always been fascinated with Alaska and bear and stuff like that. But really, if I could pick a dream hunt, is to bring it back to the beginning and go on a deer hunt with my grandpa who's passed away, and my dad, and we just rode horses, from sun up to sundown in the in the wilderness. And those were the memories that got me hooked on hunting, to where it's like something that's on my mind. And because of my grandpa, and even though we didn't kill things every year, it was just the best time of my life.
That's amazing, man. And Weston, man, what about you? How did you get into the outdoors lifestyle? I mean, was it, family, or did you come into it later, or?
Man, so I was born in San Antonio, Texas. So, growing up, I was kind of like a little punk skater boy all the way from all the way from about kindergarten to third grade. And, one day my mom came inside and she was like, "Hey, we're moving to Medina, Texas." And I said, "Medina who?"
Funky Coma?
I said, "Medina who?" I had no idea. So, I was so upset, leaving all my friends and leaving the skateboard world. But I moved up to this town in Medina, and I was like, well, I can't skate. I can't do nothing. And TJ actually lived up there as well. So, I started going over to TJ's all the time. And we started hunting and we started fishing, and that was the beginning of an end, man. I got hooked on it. And, TJ, he's been with me since I've been, shot my first deer. I hunted with my Uncle Trip, which is TJ's dad. He's the first one I shot my deer with. So, honestly, TJ's the one that got me so hooked on it. So that's kind of why I think that I was like meant to do Disabled Outdoorsman, is to not only share TJ's story, but Sidney's story and everybody else's story is disabled that refuses to give up in the outdoors. Something else is really cool is I was talking to Academy, and they want us on their website for Disabled Outdoorsman.
That is awesome. That's great, man.
Wow.
I mean,
did I tell you that's it or no?
No, dude, that's insane. That's so good.
Yeah, I pitched him the idea, and I told him how the community of the disabled is growing, and whenever you're supporting Disabled Outdoorsmen, you're not only supporting our brand, but you're supporting anyone that that's disabled in the outdoors. And what we do on the back of our shirts is we put real Disabled Outdoorsmen on the back of them. So the first one we had was a guy from Ty Hockett, and the second edition we're releasing is going to be Sidney on the back, and then the final three is going to be TJ. So TJ is going to be on the third shirt. So going forward, everyone on the back of the shirt is going to either be like a slogan or a real individual. So,
oh man, that's really great, and for what y'all are doing, because I got to be honest, man. Nowadays in the outdoor community and the hunting community, and even fishing for a while, with the rise of YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all this stuff, you've got everybody left and right starting a pro staff, or Drop Killer Tine Outdoors and this, and man, it just seems like a lot. I had a buddy of mine in the cooler business, and I did some website work for him, and man, every day there was like 30 emails that would come through saying like, "Hey, I'm so-and-so from this Outdoorsman. How about sponsoring us with an ice chest and doing that?" And I started looking at some of these guys, and I'm like, man, y'all got like 100 followers, and it's y'all just no videos of hunting, just standing around, face painted up and everything. And I got to say, man, for me, I was like, it's a lot of bullshit going out there.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like everybody's in it to just get free products, like, hey, get this and get that and everything. And the thing that I see that y'all are doing different is, man, y'all have grown this movement organically. It's about the people that y'all are doing this for, and everything else is like a byproduct of it, which is the right way to do it. Y'all are providing a service. Y'all are providing information that, hey, even if you are disabled and you do want to go out into the woods, you want to go hunting, we can help you with that. You don't have to. It's not just something for certain people. It's anybody wants to go, we're going. We're going to take you. We'll get you out there. We'll get you on a deer. We'll get you on a buck, a hog or whatever. And man, kudos to y'all for that.
Yeah, man. And I'll tell you this, Buster, it's, a lot of people, it's hunting and fishing outdoors, of course. But, some people, they're not necessarily the hunter or the fisherman, but man, they like to either hike or go camping, or they like to, just go walk on a trail. The outdoors in general is just a big therapy. It's a therapy for me, like when I have a hardship going on or I have something going on, I'll go fishing or I'll go hunting. You know, and it's just like a therapy. And what I found out is people with disabilities, you know, that's what they kind of use it for. It's like their gateway. So, you know, I had no idea what I was doing when I started it up. You know, I had no idea, but I was just following the passion and the voice in my head that telling me to keep going. So I just kept on doing it.
Well, man, I really hope you do keep it up and keep going. And like you said, it is therapy. It's the best therapy we can have nowadays, because it's funny when I talk to a lot of guys when they're out hunting or out in the woods or something. I ask them, I was like, what do you do when you're there? And it's reflect, pray. A lot of guys carry a Bible in their backpack, or they have it on their phone, and it's really a great form of therapy. Getting in nature, get away from everything else, clear your head, and just focus on something else. So, I mean, I know that's what it is for me too. So
well, it's you know, you think about somebody that has a disability. I mean, it's obviously a challenge they deal with every day of their life, and you know, some days I have bad days, and I think about my feet. You know, how it'd be easier if I had this, you know, or around or the, you know, some pain that I have in my prosthetics, and you know, lots of people that, you know, they, you know, with disabilities, they struggle on a regular basis. But if they're out doing something like, you know, hunting or doing something what Disabled Outdoorsman represents, I guarantee you they're not going to be thinking about some of their problems. And I think that's what's awesome about a program like this, is it gets them into something that they can help with their confidence, that will help, you know, forget about their problems for that moment.
that's a great point, Sidney. That's, man, guys, y'all are blowing me away right now. Just hearing this, and you know, Sidney, from your standpoint, Weston, from your view of what you're trying to accomplish with this, guys, I think it's going to be big. It's going to be a movement that y'all are going to, that soon, you know, this thing can go, it's worldwide. It's something that happens in every country in the world. It's a universal language, you know. It's also rites of passage. And, you know, for like young Nixon, sure, you said he went on a hunt already, but man, to experience a hunt, different hunts and different places with different people is something you share and you grow as an individual. That, man, y'all got me internally reflecting very, very much. So that, and Sidney, your mustache is kind of, you know, intimidating me a little bit, man. What's up with that?
It's I usually grow a beard, and someone challenged me to grow the mustache, and my wife hates it, and so I turned around and got some mustache wax now. So now I'm curling it. So it's
now you're plotting. You're plotting your evil plot. How do I go hunting next time?
Excellent.
Yeah, I've been rocking a beard for about 10 years, and I usually keep it short, and every once in a while I let it grow really long, and my wife just hates it. And every once I wait till she complains a little bit and then stops. And then I'm like, all right, now I'll trim it up. So, but man, I like it. You should keep it. That's Weston, man, you need that on the back of the shirt. You need to have, like, on the face, to have a little bit of a mustache coming out for him. I think that'd be awesome.
A mustache.
I'll be your Huckleberry.
There, dude, you do have. That's it. That's what it is that you're reminding me of right now. A little Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
So Doc Holliday, man, you need to bring that out for Halloween. So.
Yeah.
Well, fellas, hey, I want to be respectful of your time. I know y'all have got family and y'all have got a lot of other things to do. Before we end this, I want to give y'all each a chance. Weston and Sidney, guys, tell everyone on the show, you know, how can they find y'all? How can they support you? What, you know, how do they, Instagram, Facebook, websites, you know, what you're trying to accomplish? Give us your closing arguments, man, I guess.
You got it, Sid.
Yeah. So, if you want to find me personally, most of the stuff I do is on Instagram or Facebook. You can find me Sidney Smith, the only guy missing his legs. Sidney Smith that I know of. So that's one way. On Instagram, my try handle is try_no-feet. And try spelled TRI. And then for Disabled Outdoorsman, go ahead, Weston.
Yeah, so Disabled Outdoorsman, our Instagram is Disabled Outdoorsman USA. Our website is coming soon. It's about 6-7 days out. That's going to just be www.disabledoutdoorsman.com. It's going to have tabs of our hunters. It's going to be future hunters. It's going to have pictures of everything we have going on, future and past videos. And we also have a YouTube, Disabled Outdoorsman, that Sidney Smith is on, and Nixon's videos are going to be on there once we get and correlate all his videos. And we have a Shopify with our gear that you can go buy and support. And we use the proceeds not only to buy more material and more shirts to support the Disabled Outdoorsman, but to also use the money to bring individuals such as Sidney down. And yeah, that's how you can find us. And we hope everyone can hop on board with us to make a difference one day at a time, because that's what Disabled Outdoorsman's here to do. And we want everybody on board that wants to help out. So,
well, fellas, once again, what y'all are doing is awesome. Weston, man, go get it, because you got this. You're going to bring this movement about. I hope one day that if I'm ever around y'all area, man, we can all sit down and drink a beer, or, maybe even go on a hunt together. That'd be pretty awesome. Sidney, man, I'm going to come to Utah one time, because it sounds amazing out there. And good luck in your training.
To have you, man.
And good luck in training for your triathlon, man. You got to come do the one down here in Galveston. That's a big one, man. That'd be a fun one to have you down here. It's real flat.
Oh yeah.
So,
hey, Sidney, give me a call about your triathlon. We're going to sponsor you too.
Look out!
Oh snap, dude!
Look out! These guys, yeah, y'all are awesome, man. Y'all are awesome. Well, fellas, hey, buddies, thank y'all for coming on the show. I'm going to drop this. I think it's going to be a big hit. Congratulations on all y'all's success. Keep going. And, one good old boy to two more good old boys. Thank you for what y'all are doing in this community.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Buster.